Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi and very good day everyone. In this video, I'm going to explain about how to process array by using loops. So basically, we are going to use for loop. Loops can be used to process array in several ways. So I'm going to show you 5 examples here. The first one is to initialize an array to a specific value where we initialize the value of the element of the array element with a similar value. Okay, the second one is how to print the elements in an array. The third one is to input data into an array based on user's input. The fourth one is to find the sum and average of an array. And the last one is to determine the largest element in the array. So why do we need to use loop when processing an array? So imagine that we have one array here, array sales, where you keep 100 elements inside this array. So your index starts from 0 until 99. So when you want to assign values inside this array, what you have to do is this code. Okay, you have to assign one by one. Sales at index 0, you assign with 100. Sales at index 1, you assign with 500, and so on until sales at index 99, you assign with 600. So this is a repetitive code where it is a tedious work. If your array size is small, then it will be okay. But if your array size is bigger, it will give you problem and you're going to do repetitive things again and again. So we don't want to do that. So that is why we have to use for loop when we are processing the array. So if you look at the assignment statement here, we have sales index 0 equals to 100. Here also we have sales index 1 and sales index 2. So all of the statements are using the same array name. But the value that is changing between these assignment statements are the index values. We start from 0, 1, 2 until 99. So this is where we can use for loop in order to control the index value. So what we can do is we use the array name sales, and in the square bracket we put a variable, for example variable I. So this I value will be replaced with numbers of 0 until 99 to represent the index. So I will show you the example so that you get more idea about how to use it. So for now, you need to understand that the array will be processed by using for loop, and we are going to control the index by using a variable. The first example I'm going to show you is how to initialize the array with a specific value. So this is the code where we have array declaration here. We have double sales equals to new double 3. So meaning your array, your array is named as sales. Okay, this is the representation of the memory. So here we have array sales with size of 3, and since the array is a double type of array, so we have the initial value as 0.0 for all of the elements. So next one, we declare a variable index. This variable is to control our array index. Next, we have our for loop. So now what we are going to do is that we are going to assign all of the array elements as 10. Okay, so we do that by using a for loop here. So we have the for index equals to 0, index less than sales.length, and also index plus plus. This is our for loop header. So what we do inside the for loop is to assign the value of 10 to the sales at a certain index. Okay, so we start with the tracing table here. So for example, index initial value is 0. Okay, so what happened is that we go to the for loop condition, 0 less than sales.length. So sales.length is the size of your array. So the size of your array here is 3. So meaning we are comparing the index value with 3. So 0 less than 3, it is true. So when it is true, you go inside the loop. So what we do is that we assign sales index 0, we assign with 10. So meaning you go to sales index 0, you assign with 10. So now sales at index 0 is already 10, no more 0. So after that, we go to the index plus plus, we update the value to 1. 1 less than equals, less than sales.length, 1 less than 3. So true, when it is true, you go inside the loop and now you assign sales index 1 to 10 as well. So in your memory, this value will be updated. After that, we update the index value again. Index becomes 2. 2 less than 3, true. So when it is true, you go inside the loop and now you assign value 10 to sales at index 2. So now sales at index 2 is also 10. So after that, you come to your update statement of your for loop. So now index becomes 3, 3 less than 3. So this will return to you false. And finally, you're going to stop the loop until here. So at the end, all of the array memory location will be assigned with 10.0. So these three will be the elements inside your array. Okay, after we have assigned the value inside your array, now I'm going to show you how to print out the values that we keep inside the array just now. So as we have seen just now, we have assigned 10.0 to all of the as the element inside our array. So now we have another for loop just to print out back what we have kept in the array. So this for loop also using variable index. So index is 0. 0 less than sales.length. Again, sales.length is 3. So 0 less than 3 is true. So when it is true, you go inside the loop. This is what you're going to print out. Okay, we have here element in index, square bracket. We concatenate with the index value. So current index value is 0. Concatenated with the square bracket again. And also sales index. So our sales index 0. So sales index 0 is 10.0. So this is your first output. So after the SOP, you go back to your index plus plus, which is your update statement. So index becomes 1, 1 less than 3, true. You go inside the loop again. So here you have another SOP. Element in index 1 is 10.0. So after you finish your SOP, you come to the index plus plus. Index becomes 2, 2 less than 3, true. Again, you print out the value. So you print again element in index 2 is 10.0. So after you have finished that, you update the index value to 3. 3 less than 3 becomes false. So you're going to get this output. Okay, if I run the code, I will get this output similar to what we have traced just now. So this is how you use for loop to print out the values that you have kept in your array. If I cut this for loop and I put before the assignment of your array value, this is what you're going to get. Let's see what happened. Okay, if I run this code now, okay, I will get element in index 0 is 0.0, for all of the elements, the value are 0.0. As we said, after the declaration, the default value are 0.0 because this array is a double data type. Okay, after the for loop statement here, if I cut and I copy and paste another for loop to print out the value. So here you will get 10.0. So this is after the execution of the assignment to the array elements. So before you assign any value, the values are 0.0, which is the default value. So after you assign the values inside your array, then after that, if you print out the value, you're going to get the values printed. Okay, here. Okay, next I'm going to modify this code so that we can read input from user and keep the values as the element of your array. So firstly, we need the import statement because we are going to read input from user. Next, we have to create the scanner object here. Scanner input goes to so I'm going to use the similar array. Okay. So we have the for loop here. This for loop will read input from user. You give instruction to user, enter number something here, and you're going to read the input by using input.next double, and the value will be assigned to sales index. So let's trace what will happen one by one. Okay, so our index initially we have our sales array. So as earlier, we have sales array with size of 3 and the default value is 0.0 because it is a double data type. So the next is our for loop. So by using this for loop, we are going to read input from user and assign values inside this array. So our index value starts from 0. So 0 less than index 0 less than 3. 0 less than 3, which is true. So when it is true, you go inside the loop. If you see here, we have the instruction given to user, enter number. Okay, we have enter number and we concatenate with index plus 1. So we want to give instruction to user that the user should key in enter number 1, enter number 2, and enter number 3. Because we have 3 elements, but our index is 0. So you have to plus with 1 so that we get enter number 1. So for example, if user key in 10, okay, let me show you by running the program. So here user will key in 10. So what will happen is that the 10 value will be assigned to sales at index 0. So this 10 will be placed in the index 0. So after you have read the input and assign the value to the array, you go to the update statement of your for loop. So index value becomes 1. 1 less than 3, true. So again, you ask input from user. This is why the second output comes out here. The second instruction, sorry, the enter number 2. So let's say I put 20. So here also I key in 20. So meaning what we do next is to assign sales at index 1 with 20. So now the value of 20 will be placed in index 1. So after that, you come to your update statement for your for loop. Index will become 2. 2 less than 3, true. So when it is true, you ask input again from user, enter number 3. Enter number 3, and let's say user key in 50. So here is 50. Okay, so 50 will be assigned to sales at index 2. Okay, that is how you assign values by reading input from user and assign to the array. And then you go to the update statement of your for loop. Index becomes 3. 3 less than 3, this one will become false. Okay, so this is the part of reading input and assigning the value together. So you have two operations here. One is to read the input and you directly put inside the array based on the index. So the next for loop is just to read your values inside your array that we have seen earlier. So if you see here, the output is 10, 20, and 50, which are the values that user have keyed in just now. Okay, so meaning the values have been stored in your array, and these are the elements that we have in the memory currently. Okay, the next one is I'm going to show you how to sum the values that we already assigned in the array. So assume that we already have the values of 10, 20, and 50 in our array. So now what we are going to do is we are going to calculate the sum of all of the elements and also the average. So we will need two extra variables here, double sum, and we initialize to 0.0 and also average. Okay, so we will use for loop as well. So the for loop will traverse one by one and sum the values inside the array. So here we have 4 index start with 0, similar to the previous ones. So index starts with 0, 0 less than 3, true. When it is true, you go inside the loop, and what you do is that you calculate the sum. So sum equals to sum plus sales index. So sales index, so meaning the sum value is initialized to 0. So 0 plus with the sales index. So sales index now is 0. So what is the value in sales index 0 is 10. So 0 plus with 10. So sum value will be updated to 10. Okay. After you have finished do the summation, you go to the index plus plus to update the index value to 1. 1 less than 3 true. So again here you sum the value. So we are going to have the current value of sum is 10. You plus with the sales index. So sales at index 1 is 20. So 10 plus 20, you will get 30. So I forgot to write about the sum. Sum from 0 becomes 10. After that, it becomes 30. So currently, the value of sum is 30. And then you come to your update statement for your for loop. Index becomes 2. 2 less than 3 true. So when it is true, you go inside the loop and you do the summation again. So sum from 30, you plus with the sales at index 2, which is 50. So now sum value becomes 80. Okay, you update the value of sum to 80. Then come to your update statement. Don't forget to finish up your for loop. So index becomes 3, 3 less than 3. This one will become false. So after this for loop becomes false, you come to the next statement. We have here average equals to sum divided by sales.length. So average is equal to sum. Sum is 80. So we take the 80, we divide with sales.length is 3. Then you are going to get your average, which is 26.67. So this is your output here. The sum value is 80, and also the average value is 26.67. The last example that I'm going to show to you is the how we are going to find the largest element that we have in our array. So what we are going to do is that the logic is we are going to retrieve the value of element in index 0, and we will assign the value to one variable, and the value will be held by, for example, by the variable max value. So this max value will be compared to the next elements that we have in our array. So if the value is larger than the current max value, then the value of max value will be updated to the latest index. So we will see how to do that. And at the end, we are going to get what is the largest element that we have in our array. So to do that, we have to declare one variable called as max value, and we assign the value to sales index 0. So for this example, the first max value will be 10. So we have variable max value. So the next one is our for loop. This is just to read the input that we have used earlier. So we need another for loop to find the largest element here. So we start with index 0, and we continue until it is the end of the array. And what we do inside the loop is that we compare sales index with the max value. So if the sales index is larger than the max value, then the max value will be updated with the sales index value. Okay, so let's trace what happened here actually. So here we have index 0, starting with 0. 0 less than sales.length. Sales.length is 3, similar to the previous ones. So here for the first round, the condition is true. When the condition is true, you go inside the loop. And here we have the if statement. If sales index, so our sales index is 0. So if sales index 0 is larger than the max value, so max value just now is 10. So now we are comparing 10 with 10. So it is not larger, so this if statement will return to you false, so you are not going to execute this one, and you go to the update statement. So index value will become 1. So 1 less than 3 true. So when it is true, you go inside the loop again. Now you compare sales index 1 with the max value. So sales index 1 is 20. You compare with the max value, which is 10. So this will return to you true because 10 is larger than the max value. 20 is larger than the max value just now. So what we are going to do is that we are going to take the sales at index 1, which is 20, we assign to the max value. So max value now becomes 20. Okay, so after that you come to your update statement. 2, index becomes 2, 2 less than 3, true. So when it is true, you go inside the loop and you are going to execute the if statement again. So now you compare sales index. So sales index 2, what is the sales at index 2, which is 50. 50 you compare with the max value. 50 is larger than max value or not? So this one, 50 you compare with 20, 50 is larger than the max value. So this if statement will return to you true. So when it is true, you're going to update the max value with the latest index value. So max value will have value of 50. Okay, so now you update your for loop again. Index becomes 3, 3 less than 3, false. Okay, after that, your for loop has become false, so you go to the next statement, which is to print out the value of max value. So finally, you will print out largest element is 50. So if we run this code, let's say I key in 10, 20, and 50. So I will get the largest element is 50 because the largest element that we have in our array currently is 50. So you can do the similar code for finding the minimum value. It's just that you have to change a little bit here in the if statement so that you can find out what is the minimum value for the array. Okay, hopefully you have got some idea on how to use for loop with array. So this will be the basic things that you need to know in order to come up with more complicated codes. So these are only the basics. If you have understood this, you can use it and you can modify for your future codes. Thank you.